Well, everyone's having a yell, as in the birds, so it's a nice, interesting, misty, foggy morning this morning, so I thought I'd take MX60 out for a quick belt. I must say, in the last 6 months we've had quite some interesting times here in this area. We've gone from severe drought to bushfires to decent amount of rains, and then COVID-19 and yeah, all sorts of stuff. We live in interesting times. It's interesting to see what Donald Dump is doing to the United States. Got up at about 6 this morning before the sun kind of got up, and there was just a little snake of mist forming down in the river, and of course as the sun comes up and the temperature gradually increases, it all spreads out, and then all of the dew from the night starts evaporating everywhere. Oh, a bunch of guys on bikes. But it's a bit fucking chilly on the ride up here this morning. And as interestingly always, they're all old guys. Almost nobody young rides bikes anymore. It's weird, isn't it? Instead they get on electric scooters and bitch and carry on about how, oh, the trigger's so hard to use, the trigger's so hard to use, I can't, it's a fucking mess. Yeah, well, you know, I guess riding a motorbike's hard. You've got to learn to balance a throttle on this side and a clutch on this side and get them all coordinated. They should make it easier! It's impossible to learn! Yeah. Oh wow, that's just so lovely over there with the spider webs and the mist. And it's interesting, you can just see the clarification between, you know, in the valley, the mist, and over there, it's clear. Fascinating, isn't it? I think I'll just stop and take a quick video for my mate. You know, it's interesting, everyone bitches about the sensitivity on the throttle and the dead spot. Oh, there's a fucking dead spot! Oh my fucking god! And yet, these controllers that are on much more powerful scooters, no one seems to fucking bitch about it. But the little kiddies on the forum hate the wide wheel because it's too hard to learn and it's got a dead spot and it doesn't do what I want it to do. I'm in command! I'm the narcissist running the shop. It should do what I say. Oh, hang on. Maybe that's the answer. Lovely morning. By the way, interesting point I found is that obviously there's a little bit of movement around the place. Leaning against the post is actually kind of a really good way of stabilising that so that your belly actually adds a little bit of friction to it jumping side to side. Not that, you know, it makes a big difference, but, you know, if, for example, you need to take one hand off the bar, it works really well to put your tummy against the bar and then you can lift your hand up without any difficulty, or even both hands. But yeah, you know, lots of little tips and tricks that people should learn by experimenting. If only they weren't riding it with a deep level of fear, as if what they were doing was dangerous, whilst busily denying that it's not dangerous. Or, sorry, busily denying its danger. Anyway, I might go over to the border, see what it's like over there. You probably can't see that guy up there in the tree, the little white thing. He's actually quite a large bird. That's a sulphur-crested cockatoo. I love perching somewhere up high. There he goes. Didn't like me looking at him. He was squawking away there before. They love perching up somewhere high. There's ones over there on the line. That's pink galahs. Well, just galahs. They're a pack of clowns. Here in Australia, we often refer to someone who's a idiot as a galah. Galahs are fun though. People who watch some of my videos might notice that quite a lot of my videos on the MX60 are done at a relatively pedestrian speed of 24 kilometres an hour or 25 kilometres an hour, 25 at the moment. And people who usually buy a scooter like an MX60 are usually trying to buy something that's, fast, because I want to go fast. Well, I got a motorbike for that. I don't like going real quick on the scooter, not for any other safety reasons, but because it's actually not fun. It's not pleasant. It's not enjoyable. I love these kind of like, almost strolls through the countryside that I would pass through in a blink on my motorbike, where I'd also be focused on the road and riding and stuff like that. Whereas on the scooter, I can actually just enjoy the countryside. Now, I could probably do this on my wide wheel. In fact, I've done this ride on my wide wheel many times. But there's just something kind of nicer about the Toyota Corolla way that this thing behaves. It's kind of comfortable. I've learned that basically you have the post really close to you so that you can put your foot a little bit off the front of the board, with just more or less, ball of your foot touching the board. And the back foot can be there, back a bit. It doesn't actually have much takeoff to it. It winds up, so that kind of makes riding it a different experience. But it's really just nice to be able to look up there and go, oh, look at that track, where does that go to? Oh, I never paid attention to that house on the top of the hill there. That's a big pad he's put there. Stuff like that, Actually seeing and enjoying the scenery. Because it's a lovely place, Okay, well that was a nice little chit chat. See if I make it down here before the car. So I might give myself a little bit more speed. Going to gear 3. So this is 44 kilometres an hour, perfectly adequate. Wouldn't want to go any faster. It'll go up to 61 down here, but personally, that definitely isn't enjoyable. I just love the way this scooter is so stable. I'm so glad I didn't buy that 010X. What a fucking death trap. Oh, no, didn't beat the car. Now these are places where you don't let go of the handlebars. As if I had to say that. Something I like about this scooter for when I do go a bit faster is that obviously the suspension enables me to take corners like this better than the wide wheel, and I couldn't do 40 kilometres an hour on the wide wheel here. And those bumps are just soaked up by the combination of the nice air suspension and large diameter pneumatic tyres. So, if you've got roads where you can actually safely hoot along at these speeds, and you're not restricted by laws that say you can't do that, then, as I have said many times, the MX60 is a distance commuter par excellence. But man, if you've got to go far, the battery really, the charger really needs thinking about, because, you know, it takes too long to charge. Well, and I mean really, it's fucking 2 amp, not even 2 amp charger on a 20 amp hour battery. Fucking talk about trickle charge. Oh, well, looks like most of the fog's lifted from the town. Oh no, it's a little bit over there. See what they get when we get to the top of the hill. Get off and have a look. Yeah, there's a bit of a sign of it just over there. You can see that on the hill on this side is clear, but just in the middle of the mountains there, over the top of the roofs, you can see it's still all foggy in there. But shit, it's nice out here in the sun, I've got to say. It's one of the things that I like about winter here. Yeah, get the camera on in time for one of my favourite little bridges now, doing like 40 kilometres an hour, probably like 42 by the time I go down a bit. This one's a bit rough on the wide wheel because you can see it's got all sorts of broken bits of concrete and shit. But even this one just doesn't bother it. Don't know if you can see it clearly, but there's a fog underneath my display there. And that fog is caused by just simply moisture in the atmosphere getting in, because it gets in everywhere inside, and then at night, because it's colder, there's actually a higher percentage of moisture in the atmosphere, relative humidity. And so even though this hasn't been out in the rain, as soon as I get it out in the sun and it starts warming up, it changes the relative humidity inside there, and it starts, you know, fogging the inside of there. Now, people often talk about, is it okay to, you know, get my scooter wet? And the answer is, yeah, probably. But shit like that's going to happen, and over time it's going to damage the controller. So, or may damage the controller. Depends on how well coated the board is and stuff, because, you know, the solder joints on the board should be sprayed with something to, you know, cover them, if you're not expecting to do any maintenance, and you certainly aren't in this. But one of the things that I love about the cruise control is that it allows you to just cruise along, just enjoy the scenery without having to do anything more about, you know, even got to like pay attention to the trigger or anything like that. You can just stand here and just on your nice little platform go through the countryside and enjoy the scenery.